So first of all, let me express my gratitude for having me here today, and and thank you to all the colleagues taking part to this webinar for their attention. As a potential supervisor, let me move here. Okay. So as a potential supervisor, I would like to focus your attention on the theme science as transculturality and transdisciplinarity. My lecture is made up of 4 parts: presentation and expertise, projects, investigation methods, teaching and tutoring. After the 4 parts, I will offer you a wrap-up of the lecture. Just let's start with the presentation and expertise. So, first of all, let me introduce myself. I'm a partner of a wonderful person supporting me along the life path, and the father of a quite clever, curious, and empathetic kid. I'm also a friend of 2 wonderful little tigers, who are, of course, the king and the queen of our life as a family. Besides, I'm an archaeologist specializing in Mediterranean and Italian archaeology between the 2nd millennium and the early 5th century BC. My research has focused on different subjects, such as cultural interaction, social identities, material display of power, settlement strategies, societal and burial practices, exploitation of natural resources, adaptation to changing climatic and environmental conditions, and last but not least, anthropomorphic representations. The lively synergy between a historical, anthropological, archaeological approach and other methods of investigation, as well as a very pronounced teamwork, has characterized my research. Now move to the second point, projects. An early example of an international and interdisciplinary project I co-directed is the one focused on the so-called grave tomb of the warrior from Tarquinian southern Etruria, a rich burial with weapons from the last decades of the 8th century BC. On that occasion, I had the pleasure of collaborating with a dear colleague and friend of mine, Mr. Uwe Pelz, from the Staatliche Museen zu Berlin. And in addition, Uwe and I headed a team of 30 scholars from Europe and the United States. Down left, you can appreciate the number of contributors who work with us. And here to the left, to the right, pardon, a couple of visual examples of the analysis that we carried out thanks to the teamwork. Currently, I'm engaged in 2 different topics: interaction strategies and the so-called web of significance in the Tyrrhenian region between the end of the 9th and early 7th century BC, and territorial political systems in southern Etruria between the Bronze and the Archaic ages. Let's start with the first project. This project originated from the study of a famous grave, once again furnished with weaponry, from Cume, near Naples, in Italy, dating back to the very end 8th century BC. For this study, which is currently being finalized, I had the honor to lead 26 colleagues from Europe and to move from an interdisciplinary to a transdisciplinary approach. Here again, a couple of visual examples of the analysis we carried out at that time. My second line of research, territorial political system in southern Etruria, was triggered by a still ongoing international and transdisciplinary project, studying the archaeological site named Bisenzio, located on and around a hill by the shore of the Lake of Bolsena, the largest European volcanic lake, circa 100 kilometers north of Rome. I designed the Bisenzio project and coordinated it between 2015, 2017, and since 2018, I have been heading it. For this research, I figured out a holistic approach aiming to reconstruct the evolution of the climate, the paleoenvironment, the settlement district, the peri-urban and suburban areas, the latter characterized by numerous burial grounds, as well as the surrounding territory between the 2nd millennium BC and the beginning of the 5th century BC. A plethora of universities, institutes, societies, specialists, and associations had to be involved to hope to achieve significant results. Now, let's go on and take into consideration the part 3, investigation methods. Investigation methods which are the most varied. Remote sensing such as drone photogrammetry and LiDAR, interferometric sonar, and imaging sonar, geophysical prospections, of course, core sampling in both immerged and submerged areas. And these samples are quite important in order to investigate paleobotanical evidence, palynological evidence, as well as geological and sedimentological evidence. No need to say that archaeology is as well a very important research method, as well as archaeometry. We carried out, and we have been carrying out in the framework of the Bisenzio project, speleological investigation as well, underwater archaeology, and more traditional archaeological land surveys, stratigraphic excavation, photogrammetry, and of course, photos and drawings, which supports us in analyzing functional and chronotypological features of the findings. As you can imagine, leading such a project pushed me to internalize my colleagues' modus operandi, priorities, needs, in a nutshell, to improve myself by learning something unrelated to archaeology and make other scientific languages my own and keep the colleagues' requests in mind with respect and attention. The last point of my lecture is focused on teaching and tutoring. While research activity has played a key role in my career, I've also been active in academic teaching. I have given classes in Italy and abroad, and I have been co-supervisor of bachelor and master students in Italy and Germany. Since 2020, I am co-supervising a PhD student at the University of Vienna in Austria, who has also been involved in the research at Bisenzio and has given a lecture with me on some of the results of the Bisenzio campaign 2022 at the second one-day conference on the research projects in Etruria, recently held at the University of Mainz. Now, let me conclude my lecture with a short wrap-up and a question, let's say. A very hard question: why me as a supervisor for your project? I would like to make this point clear by using a few words. The first one is travel, mobility. Actually, I myself left my home country immediately after my PhD and have never stopped traveling since. My first postdoc was in Greece, and then research and teaching took me to stay in Berlin, Heidelberg, Mainz, Cambridge, Oxford, and Paris for longer or shorter periods. Even today, thanks to an international research agreement, I often travel between Rome and Mainz. The second word is transculture. I got in touch with different cultures, languages, worldviews, and academic schools. This has allowed me to absorb like a sponge many suggestions, ideas, and way of working. Today, despite having both Italian and German citizenship, I can say that I'm a European citizen in the spirit of the Marie Curie program. Even more so is my son, who at the age of 11 speaks 3 languages, feels at home in both Italy and Germany, and is curious about the cultural traditions of other European countries. Another word is transdisciplinarity. For more than 20 years, I have been collaborating with scholars from various countries and fields of research, and have been trying to bring together expertise to outline an exegetical framework of evidence that is as complete as possible. The institute that I have the honor of representing fully echoes my experience. In fact, with its many locations throughout Italy, it constitutes a multifaceted and dynamic pool of knowledge and equipment that can support you in developing your project and achieving your research goals. The last word is tutoring. As mentioned, I have not only given classes, but also had the opportunity to mentor students from bachelor's to doctoral level. These allowed me to recall the fears and uncertainties, both human and work-related, that I sometimes experience as a student, and to feel them on my own skin once again. In this way, I have performed my tutoring duties, I hope, more efficiently and pragmatically. In conclusion, I'm strongly convinced that the Marie Curie Scholarship postdoctoral fellowship is a key element in the creation of a European research system that makes Europe more competitive and attractive, and fosters the awareness that both ecosystem and cultural heritage are the foundation for a tolerant and inclusive community of knowledge.